Hey, Dr. C here with you. For a long time, I've tried to help people feel better when they've had thyroid disease and try to figure out the best strategies and options for them. I've been looking closely at the evidence and just thinking this through and realized that there are many good steps that people haven't had access to. Lifestyle changes can make a big difference. In some cases, medications can be helpful, but sometimes these things are hard to employ or they may have side effects that may not work for everyone. I've been seeing more and more data about the use of nutrients, vitamins, minerals, botanical medications, various nutraceuticals. And the data's been piecemeal. There's been a study here about this or that or this combination, but there haven't been easily available options for people. And I've realized too that this is a step that is not a perfect step, but it's an easy one. There's always important things we can do to eat better, to sleep better, to have good relationships. And as important as these steps are, we should undertake them, but they're not always things we can just turn on a moment. Whereas micronutrients are things we can change rather quickly. So I'm excited to release a new group of nutraceuticals that are all custom manufactured to help reverse common thyroid symptoms. And these are ones that I feel really good about. They're all nutrients that are safe, they're well studied, they're things that are not going to add to your iodine burden, they're not going to disrupt other treatments that you're doing, and they're cost effective, they're readily available. Uh, and these are combinations that are really made based upon high quality human evidence. All of the studies that I cite are ones that were showing actual outcomes for adults with thyroid disease. They had control groups, they had placebo arms. We know they really do work and they had good, safe outcomes. So I'll talk about these in terms of how they can be used to address the most common big symptoms. And this is going to be a quick overview on all the products. I'm going to do more training that goes very deep into individual ones. But I thought about this, and if the first training was super in-depth about, say, thyroid nodules, you'd see these other several products and be curious about them as well. So I thought it'd make the most sense to give a quick overview on everything and then also go deep into each one individually. So that's the plan, and this is the big overview. So first symptom I want to talk about is weight. And this has been the most important symptom all along in terms of how many people are affected by this, how many other ways it affects one's health, the emotional significance of it, the depth of the struggle. But yeah, this is a big deal, and it's really important to address this one right out of the gate. So this means easy weight gain. This means stubborn weight loss. This means that the pounds don't go away, or if they do, they only go away with extreme measures that are not sustainable. Now, in terms of overall dietary approaches, the metabolism reset diet is my best effort on ways to help this happen, to help someone reverse chronic stubborn weight. Between the resets, or to help the resets work better, there's good data about nutraceuticals having a key role, and not the ones that are commonly talked about. So a lot of ones are popularized that don't have great evidence, or maybe they act like stimulants, or maybe they cause you to have malabsorption, but there's some really good stuff that hasn't been used. So a couple of the ingredients I'll mention briefly here, white kidney bean extract. We've got really good data that this can change the body's activity of an enzyme called amylase. It can greatly decrease the absorption rate of carbohydrate, and it can greatly change the metabolism of insulin. So you can really improve insulin metabolism with a simple ingredient. And many large human studies done on this, showing that it makes weight loss efforts easier. It specifically improves weight loss in the midsection, the toxic fat that we want to get rid of. And it can also improve appetite and satiety. Another big one is choline. We've got quite a bit of data on this diminishing leptin responses and improving beta oxidation, meaning the body can burn fat more effectively for fuel. And then we also see that this combination has been shown to be useful for helping the flora, helping the Bacteroides Firmicutes ratio. One other key ingredient we have is capsaicin, which is a cayenne extract. Really good data on this being a big factor, changing basal metabolic rate, and even doing so at pretty safe levels that are not going to be burning or causing burning issues. So yeah, overall, this blend will help lower appetite, help improve some of the hormonal factors that make weight stubborn, help improve fat burning for fuel, and help improve the flora in ways that allow for weight loss to be easier and more lasting. So the product is Metabolism Boost, and the usage is 2 capsules once daily with food. And by and large, you'll see with these, it's not a high number of capsules. It's all very targeted, and they're all very simple. And the purpose of Metabolism Boost specifically is to make weight loss easier and make weight loss maintenance more successful. So if you're doing an active process, such as a diet like the Metabolism Reset, this may help you get more fat loss from it. It may also make it easier to stay on and have fewer cravings during the process. After you've completed an active weight loss stage and you're on a maintenance stage, this can also make it easier to maintain your benefits and not have weight regain by those same mechanisms. Okay, next up to talk about will be, as far as symptoms, will be fatigue. Now, the corresponding product here is one called Adrenal Energy. And this is an evolution I'm really proud of. It's very simple. So this is a mixture of ingredients that are acting on mitochondrial energy output. They're buffering the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. They're helping lower oxidative damage to the tissues and improve oxygenation throughout the tissues and to reduce inflammatory levels of cytokines. So they're things that give you more energy throughout your brain and throughout your body. And they do so by helping your key energy production pathways. Some of the key ingredients that are relevant in this, cordyceps, we've got citrulline, we have astragalus, we have rhodiola. So there are Krebs cycle agents, there's adaptogens, there's various cofactor nutrients. And these are done in a way to where it can help regardless of where your current adrenal function is at. I've made past formulas that were specific and they were targeted. They were meant if you were stressed, if you were wired or tired, if you were crashed. So this blend I'm really excited about because it can work for those stages and you can adjust it per those stage by adjusting the dosing. So the amounts are different. You can do different amounts based upon your current state of adrenal function. Most simple starting dose is 2 capsules once daily with food. For example, if you know that you're at stage 3 or crashed, you can change that to 3 capsules twice daily with meals. So yeah, the base dose can work for anyone, but you can use targeted dosing based upon your adrenal level to make it more specific to your particular needs. And the goal for this is to help really reverse fatigue. No stimulants. This will not interfere with sleep, and this won't create buzzes and crashes. It'll just give steady, better energy throughout the day. So I'll talk more about this in depth in later training, but for fatigue symptoms, you can safely add this in, and dosing is just 2 capsules once daily with food. Okay, next up. So this is not a symptom, more so a condition, but this is one that's gotten more common. And there actually are some populations in which overactive thyroid function can be more common than underactive. So Graves' disease, toxic nodular goiter. This is a nutritional blend for hyperthyroidism. And the purpose of it is to really help lower the time frame that it takes to reverse Graves' disease, to lower the symptoms from hyperthyroidism, to lower the harm on the body, such as the free radical damage to the brain, the harm to the cardiovascular system. And it's also to help reverse the risks of Graves' eye disease. They're all nutrients selected for those purposes. A couple of key factors that are relevant for those purposes. We see that CoQ10, melissa, quercetin have all been well documented to achieve these various effects. Dosing on this is called Hyperthyroid Support. This is also quite simply 2 capsules once daily with food. And all of these are meant to work in concert with a baseline amount of just micronutrients. So we have the Daily Reset Bundle, the Daily Reset Pack. We'll talk more about those. But I've made all these formulas to where they're the targeted things you need for these symptoms, but they're not going to throw in the whole kitchen sink. Because if they did and you run multiple formulas, you would get multiple kitchen sinks, and that's not good. So the kitchen sink is the baseline nutrients, and the targeted formulas are to work in concert with them. And yeah, Hyperthyroid Support is the first blend made specifically for the symptoms and the disease process of hyperthyroidism. And again, the goals behind it are to lower the risk of Graves' eye disease, to lower the risk of harm to the body from hyperthyroidism, such as to the heart or the brain, and also to help to speed the time frame for reversal of the more common causes of hyperthyroidism. So who's this for? Well, this is for people that have Graves' disease, that have toxic nodular goiter, while they are doing other appropriate treatments for it. And it's also for those who are on a higher dose of thyroid medication. There are some who only feel well when they're on a high dose of thyroid medicine, and it's not advised for longer term, but while they're adjusting their dose, while they're sorting out the other causes of their symptoms, this can be a safe way to lower some of the harm from that dose being higher. So hyperthyroid support. Okay, so next up as far as concerns and goals would be high levels of thyroid antibodies. And this is important. This is relevant to you if you have high thyroglobulin, antithyroid globulin, antithyroid peroxidase, thyroid stimulating immunoglobulin, or thyroid receptor antibodies. Those are the four measurable kind of thyroid antibodies. And this is a nutrient blend made to help lower those, to help calm and correct the immune response. The formulation is called antibody support, and our key ingredients include selenium, nigella, and also inositol. And these are all documented to just reverse elevated thyroid antibodies. And the amounts can be dramatic. In some studies, the amounts have been 40, 44% or greater. So we can see significant effects with no big drawbacks. Antibody support, and again, this is to lower antibodies to help reverse symptoms caused by high antibodies, to reverse health risks from high antibodies, such as risks for heart disease, risks for infertility, and also to lower the effect high antibodies can have on raising the risk for developing further thyroid disease. And usage of this, 2 capsules once daily with food, that's the case for most of these. And this is also meant to work in conjunction with comprehensive micronutrients, such as the Daily Reset Bundle. All right, next up, next big concern, thyroid nodules. And this is a big one. Most adults over 50 have thyroid nodules. The majority of them do. And they're even more common in those with thyroid disease. And the evidence about nutraceuticals being useful here is really large. Honestly, probably more relevant than any other factor you can consider. I'll talk about how diet can be a factor, body size, TSH levels. But in terms of interventions actually shown to reverse existing nodules in adults, this is where supplements really shine. We've got good evidence on this. And there's been several studies that were using combination formulas. So one used a combination of spirulina, boswellia, and turmeric. One used a combination of selenium and also inositol. And then there's been many other studies that use prunella as a standalone ingredient. And so what I've done is I've included all of those things, so all 6 of those ingredients, at the amounts used in clinical trials. And these have been shown to cause a shrinkage of nodules by 0.6 to 0.9 centimeters over the course of 3 to 6 months, some shorter term timeframes as well. So this is a big deal. These can really lower the size of thyroid nodules, and even better done in the context of overall care. The product is called Nodule Control, and usage is 2 capsules once daily with food. And this is also best along with a comprehensive mixture of thyroid micronutrients. So yes, nodule control to lower thyroid nodules, quite simple. A couple of other big goals, big symptoms people wish to address. Insomnia is huge. We hear about sleep quality being a large factor for many people. And there have been many sleep products on the market, many natural ones. And the funny thing is that there's very good clinical evidence for a small amount of melatonin. There's not good evidence for high dose melatonin, and there's not great evidence for significant benefit for most of the products. So yeah, many things can knock you out, but not necessarily raise the quality of your sleep. And melatonin, there's a biphasic response curve. What that means is if you take a lot, it doesn't work as well. And a lot is basically the amount in common dosages. So what happens is when you take melatonin that's above the quantity your body would make, you fight it. You simply create resistance to it, and you lower the activity of melatonin receptors. You don't absorb it as well. And the after effect of that is, if it does cause you to sleep, you may have weird dreams, you may have grogginess the following day, and it may lead to rebound insomnia. But there's been all this research about microdose melatonin being helpful and being safe. And there are special considerations between melatonin and thyroid function. We do have data arguing that when melatonin is present in unusual quantities, it can disrupt the hypothalamic pituitary thyroid axis. You might not have known this, but the thyroid itself also makes melatonin. And there's an argument about impeding its function by excessive doses of it. But yet, there's many clinical trials showing that smaller amounts are very safe and very effective. But to date, all the commercial products have been far above the amounts that are safe. And paradoxically, they become weaker. They don't work as well. And that's because the body starts to resist them. So if we do a small enough amount, we can complement what the thyroid and the pineal gland are making, but we don't make so much that we create receptor blockages. So this is a case where less really is more. An amount that's a good complement can add to what your body is doing. A higher amount is too heavy-handed, and your body digs in its heels and resists against that. So this product is thyrotonin, and this is a microdose version of melatonin that's made to really capitalize on the optimal response curve for those with thyroid disease. Usage of this is 1 capsule daily at bedtime, and you would take that away from food for efficacy. Thyrotonin is safe for occasional use for insomnia or poor quality sleep or traveling or jet lag, but it's also safe for those who would wish to use it on more of an ongoing basis. Again, it's a small enough amount to where it won't suppress one's own output. All right, one more unique issue we see is difficulties regulating ferritin, low iron levels. And oral iron is tricky. Dietary iron rarely has a big impact upon serum ferritin. In supplemental iron, there's a real balancing act between getting enough to work and not getting side effects or harm from that. I'm very excited to introduce a new product called Easy Iron. So this is a very concentrated, gentle form of iron called ferrous fumarate, very well-studied one. And I've combined some ingredients with here that have never been done before, but are all well documented. So we have data saying that organic acids such as citric acid can improve the absorption of iron while it lowers the side effects of iron. We've got quite a bit of data about vitamin C helping iron. Some products have combined vitamin C with it before. None have used vitamin C and citric acid. And finally, we have data on a black pepper extract called piperine. And this has been shown to improve absorption for iron specifically. It's shown that with a small amount of piperine, the same number of milligrams of iron leads to greater improvements in the overall serum iron levels. So this is called Easy Iron because it works better than other versions of iron. It's better absorbed and better tolerated and quicker to change iron levels. And this is also based upon multiple human clinical trials. So this is a safe blend. If you tried iron before and not tolerated it, I'd encourage you to give Easy Iron a chance. Dosage on this, well, it's easy. It's 1 capsule daily with food. There are options for other dosing ranges, but most can see low ferritin levels corrected, even just 1 daily with food. I've never seen other irons work in this way, and I'm really excited to make this available for people. Low iron is a big factor for hair thinning, fatigue, for brain fog type symptoms, and many have struggled to get their iron back up again without having to use extreme measures. So this is great to have one more option that way. All right, a couple more considerations. So we've got foundational nutrients, and the ones here include Thyroid Daily Essentials, Omega Pure, and Calcium Magnesium. And the general thought is that these are done together to cover the basis for all the micronutrients we need to help the thyroid work well. I'll talk about all of these in more detail later also, but for right now, these are encouraged with any of the other formulations. And you can do these the most effectively as a bundle. So the Daily Reset Bundle includes the Thyroid Daily Essentials, the Omega Pure, and the Calcium Magnesium. And this covers all the main micronutrients. We've got your vitamin D, we've got the vitamins, the minerals, the antioxidants, we have the essential fatty acids, we have the macro minerals, the calcium, magnesium. Every one of these is selected in the optimal form to be compatible with good thyroid function. And each nutrient has a story. All 24 of these micronutrients, there's a story about why some type or some amount is a better fit for your thyroid than other types are. And they're all engineered from scratch for this purpose. I'm excited about this also because it's a once daily option. So basically, 4 capsules once daily, and you're good to go. So it's very low on the total pill count. And this is meant to be compatible with all the other key formulations. There's many ways in which they will all work best when you do have sufficient levels of the essential micronutrients. And again, if I put all the nutrients in all the products, it would get to be redundant for those who are on multiples. But this way, it will not. You can take the exact ones that target your concerns and symptoms and know that the foundational nutrients will cover the basis for those items, and the others can all work fine. So, how do you choose? What if you've got multiple symptoms? Well, target the ones that are the highest priority. I would encourage between always being on the foundational nutrients, and with that, adding in anywhere from 1 to 5 different blends. You can safely do that. And I think what you'll find is that the top goals will melt away, that some of the concerns you're wishing to address get better over time and do not need ongoing support. So I don't think you'll need a large number of these forever, but while you do need them, you can safely take them in combination. You can take the Daily Reset Bundle along with Metabolism Boost, along with nodule support, along with antibody support, and these things can work together just fine. So yeah, any combination that makes sense, you can do. I don't think you'll need many long term. They're all meant to be corrective, but they can be safely combined. I thought it out that even if you were to add in all formulations, you wouldn't be getting too much of any one micronutrient. I think so much about that. It's critical to make sure things work, but it's also critical to make sure the things don't throw you off and don't disrupt you in some way. And that's always possible. So these were well made to be safe and be effective in any good combination. All right, Dr. Alan Christianson here, introducing the new items from thyroid-specific formulations, and these are all engineered to be specific to key goals for those with thyroid disease. Take great care, and I'll see you again really soon. Bye-bye.